Hello. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm okay, and you?
Yeah, thank you. I'm good.
All right. Okay. What were you doing this weekend?
Uh, I I went to my husband homeland today.
To his
For
home country.
for that anniversary of his mother.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Right. Let's continue learning about tales. All right. So in lesson 2.2, we're gonna discuss what really happened in a story or in an article. So let's have a look at our vocabulary first. Right. So match the headlines 1 to 8 with the explanations on the right. So what will you say? An actress survives a crash.
Match the headline on point 8 with the explanation A to H. Actress survives crash. Hmm.
I just want to change something quickly.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Right. Here we go. Okay. So an actress survives a crash. What will you say is the explanation for that phrase?
So great. A woman is involved in a car accident but doesn't die. No,
That's right.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Right. Number
Survives.
2. Politicians attacked by
Doesn't.
angry crowd.
Lots of angry people shout and throw things at the politician. Number 8.
Yes, it is A. Do I need to move this? Right. It is A. Yes. Right. Number 3. Student demonstration turns violent.
Mm. Police catch a man.
No.
No, huh? Okay, last one.
Student demonstration turns violent.
Demonstration. Demonstration turns demonstration. Students. I cannot see any keyword relating to students.
It is H. People who are protesting begin to fight on the street.
Okay.
Okay. Then number 4.
Okay.
Workers to strike over pay.
Many people might refuse to go to work.
That's right. Number 5. Massive earthquake hits Italy.
A natural disaster destroys part of a country.
Yes. Number 6. Most wanted fugitive arrested.
Fugitive.
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 Yeah, that's a man on the run that the police is looking for. It's a criminal that
police
Yes.
catch a woman who they suspect committed a serious crime.
Yes. A fugitive is a person who performed the crime.
Okay.
Right. Number 7, floods destroy crops.
Loss of farmland is underwater.
That's right. And then number 8, hostages released after talks with rebels.
Hostages released. And yes, the last one, people who were kept as prisoners and are allowed to go free.
That's right.
Release.
Okay, well done.
Hostage. Hostages. What does it mean?
Hostages.
Hostages.
Hostages are people. Hostages are people that are kept against their will. Say, for example, there's a war, and people from, say, Iran, they go into Israel and they take. Or what happened was, it was not Hezbollah. It was. What's that other group's name?
Hostages.
On the 7th of October, the year before last year.
Oh, they are the person who kept by someone.
Okay, wait for me. Let me explain it to you. So,
Yeah.
say for example, the Houthis. They are in, say for example, they are in Gaza, and they go into Israel, and then they take people there against their will with force. They take people, and they keep them as prisoner. As prisoners, then they are hostages. That people are then hostages.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Right. Okay, so what we're going to do is I want you to describe some stories which have recently been in the news using the vocabulary in bold above. So you can use some of these phrases to tell me about any news story that you've recently read about, which is in the news. Can you think of something? For example, I can say, last year, many rice lands were flooded, and many rice crops were destroyed by a typhoon in central Vietnam.
So what should I do now?
You can tell me about any news related you've read about or that you know about using some of these phrases here on the left.
Okay, I want to talk about the number 4. And
Yeah.
do you know that the labor law of Vietnam ban the action by the employee who or the workers who do the strike, and over the pay, and in sometime in the facts, the worker they refuse to go to work, and in such case the employers must resolve their request and their request for leave, for permitted annual leave, or for permitted salary. They should be often, and it's quite it happens sometime in the factories, in the company who have the manufacturing activities and using massive volume of quantities of employees. And in Vietnam, sometimes the worker make the strike overpay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my story.
All right. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay. So let's read the speak out tip. Let's read this together. So headlines can be difficult. They contain incomplete sentences. Articles and auxiliaries can be dropped. Simple tenses are used instead of continuous or perfect tenses. And the infinitive is used to talk about the future. Okay. So what we've read here are some headlines. Right. So let's just go back a bit. These are all headlines. Actress survives crash. Politicians attacked by angry crowd. Can you read number 3? These are all headlines.
Student demonstration turns violent.
Yes. Number 4.
Workers to strike overpay.
Right.
Massive earthquake hits Italy.
Yes.
Most wanted fugitive arrested.
Fugitive.
Fugitive.
Yeah, this word we pronounce like this. Fugitive.
Fugitive.
Yeah.
Most wanted fugitive arrested.
Yeah.
Floods destroy crops.
Yes.
Hostages released after talks with rebels.
With rebels.
Rebels.
Yes. Hostages released after talks with rebels. Okay. So what we've seen here are headlines. So they contain incomplete sentences. All right. Okay. So, okay, we've done this. Okay. Right. Let's talk about it. How do you keep up to date with current news events?
I keep up to date with the news through reading the electronic news on internet. The second way I discuss and talk with my husband or my friends about the news. And sometimes people when sit with each other update the news. And the third way I keep update via work, via the task and the work daily. When the clients come to the office or liaison or contact me to ask about their situation, and through the situation I know about the new news relating to their stories. Yeah,
Okay.
yes, there are some normal ways to keep up to date with the news.
Yeah. Okay. So, according to you, what have been the most important news stories in the last 5 years?
I think there are lots of stories appeared in the last 5 years. Among them, I remember that when the President Trump, the President of America, Trump, he decided to increase substantially the import tax for the remaining countries.
Yes, he implemented tariffs. He implemented tariffs.
Sorry?
Donald Trump implemented tariffs, trade tariffs.
Tariffs, yes. Yeah, Donald Trump, he levy, right? Or he levy, right? The levy.
Trade tariffs.
Trade tariff, yes.
Yeah.
He increased or he put the heavy trade tariff to the other countries, especially including China and Vietnam and other Asian countries. And with the news or with the decision, there were a lot of companies affected by this decision. And you know that there are a lot of company or factory that has to who have to close the many companies who has a factory in China at that time. They have to close factories and business in China, and they move the business to other countries in order to have the better trade tariff.
Okay. Yeah, that's one important news event that happened during the last 5 years. What about the war between Russia and Ukraine?
Ukraine.
The war between Russia and Ukraine that broke out in 2021. You remember that war? It's still ongoing.
2021.
Yeah, I think, or was it 2023? No, it was 2023. The war between Russia and Ukraine broke out. That was a major news event.
Can you type about the issue?
Yeah. The war between
Ukraine. Yes. Russia and Ukraine.
Yes, Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah.
That was a major news event. Right. Also,
I remember that in the last 5 years, we have very, very big events.
Yeah.
Relating to Corona.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. The worldwide, everyone worldwide were affected by the virus Corona, and a lot of people die. And you know that in Vietnam, in the southern in Vietnam, 4 years ago, many people died, and what a pity. And after that, when we have the vaccinates, and then vaccine, and people will survive.
Yeah, but that vaccine that the people took that time are causing cancer now. A lot of people are dying of cancer because of that vaccines that they took. That vaccine was very poisonous. Do you know that? Can I tell you one thing about the vaccines? The New World Order is sitting behind this whole COVID breakout. The COVID thing was just a ramp off for people to make money. Companies like Pfizer, people like, Bill, what's his name? I'm not going to get on his name now. But anyway, COVID actually was an epidemic that was created by very bad people. The vaccinations that were enforced on people are still killing millions of people today because of that vaccinations.
Yeah.
That vaccinations were not regulated and they didn't do what they were supposed to do. And like I said, there's lots of bad stuff. It contains lots of bad stuff that are still causing a lot of deaths all across the world. So no, I was luckily I didn't take any vaccination, and I will in the future. I will definitely also not take any vaccination. There's no way. All right. Anyway, let's carry on. Okay, so we're going to listen to some excerpts from news events or news reports. Before you listen to it, which stories can you see in the photos?
The world's best known conspiracy theories.
Yes. So, which news reports can you see in the photos?
The man on the moon,
Yeah.
and the king is dead, and the
Yeah.
dead president.
That's right. Yes. Okay. Right. So it's the death of President John F. Kennedy and the first man on the moon, which was also not true. America was never on the moon.
Armstrong, yeah, Armstrong, the first man on the stepped on the moon.
Yeah, but he was never on the moon. Do you know that? It's a conspiracy theory. America never landed on the moon. And Neil Armstrong was never on the moon. All this are all conspiracy theories. There's facts about this. The only nation that actually landed successfully on the moon is Russia. But anyway, right. Okay, so let's, I just want to see where's our, oh, yes, our audio. Okay, so let's listen to this. Let's listen to these excerpts from news exports, from news reports.
Unit 2, Recording 6.
Hello, I know what I was doing. Do you?
Buckingham Palace has announced the death of Diana. Unit 2, Recording 6.
Hello, I know what I was doing. Do you?
Buckingham Palace has announced the death of Diana, Princess of Wales. The princess, who was 36, died late last night in a car crash in central Paris.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Breaking news in here at 5 Live. There are reports that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center in New York. That's a plane has reportedly crashed into the World Trade Center in New York, setting it on fire.
President Kennedy and Governor John Colony of Texas were shot today from an ambush as President Kennedy's motorcade left the center of Dallas.
Okay, so the conspiracy theories that we could hear about was the landing on
death
the
of the John Kennedy death.
Yes, the death of President John F. Kennedy and the man landing on the moon. Right. Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. If you were alive at the time of these events that we've just listened to, can you remember what you were doing during that time? Were you alive during any of these events? I wasn't. It was before my time. Were you alive?
No.
No, I don't think so. Right. Okay, let's read. Okay, so what is a conspiracy theory? A conspiracy theory is a theory or belief that were that there was, it's a theory or belief that there was a secret plan behind a major event. That is a conspiracy theory. It's a theory or belief that there was a secret plan behind a major event. Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand that the theory is that there were a fact, but the reason or the script behind there were existence of a secret or how to say unbelievable reason behind, so that we cannot understand the real story. Is that
Yeah.
true?
That is very true. Yes, that's exactly what a conspiracy theory is. It's a theory or a belief that there was a secret plan behind a major event. So a conspiracy theory is it's actually a lie. People create a lie about something that happened, and then they want to make people believe that lie. That is a conspiracy theory. So just to come back to this, what do you think of these conspiracy theories? What do you think these conspiracy theories were about? What do you think the conspiracy theory of the man landing on the moon? What was this conspiracy theory about? I can tell you.
Yeah,
What
please.
this conspiracy theory was all about was to make a claim that America was the first nation that landed on the moon, which was not true, and it's still not true. America never landed on the moon. All these pictures and the visuals that were created and the visuals that were broadcast over the TV was man-made. It was false. It was fabricated. They never landed on the moon. Right, so that is, yeah. What do you think about Elvis Presley's death? The way that he died. Like we are reading here. When Elvis Presley was found lying unconscious on his bathroom floor at his home Graceland, his family and friends desperately tried to save him. Now, the conspiracy theory behind his death is that he was a drug addict and that he actually died because of an overdose of drugs. Yeah, I don't know what the conspiracy theory behind that is. The death of President John F. Kennedy, that I've got a very good idea what the conspiracy theory is behind this one is. President John F. Kennedy was against the nation of Israel investing in and developing a nuclear bomb and enriching their nuclear plants. He was against it. And he was outspoken about it. And he actually stopped any funding going to Israel regarding their plans to create a nuclear bomb and to enrich their nuclear plants. And the conspiracy theory, so a lot of people believe, and I'm one of them, that he was killed by Israel. He was killed by Mossad, which is a secret spy agency of Israel. Okay, but yeah, I don't want to talk too much about this. Right, okay, so let's carry on. What story do you think involved a real conspiracy according to official reports? Of these three stories here, the man on the moon, the king of Elvis Presley, the death of President JF Kennedy, which story do you think involved a real conspiracy according to official reports?
Man on the moon and President Kennedy was killed as a result of conspiracy.
Yeah,
Astronaut didn't land. Oh, astronaut didn't land on the moon. Photographs were taken in a studio. And for Elvis Presley didn't die at home in his bathroom, and he's still alive today. Really?
I don't
That-
think so. I don't think that is live today.
Kennedy, Lee Harvey Oswald was not acting alone when he killed. The FK suspect include CIA and FBI and Fidel Castro.
Yeah, don't forget Egypt and the Mossad. Israel and the Mossad. And then for number 2, which story do you think involves a real conspiracy?
Which story do you think involve real compassion? Official reports have concluded that President Kennedy was killed as a result of the conspiracy.
Of a conspiracy, yes. Okay, right. We all know. Right. Okay. Now let's read these articles again, and then we're going to answer some questions about it. Can you read the first one about the man on the moon?
Okay. Man on the moon. We've seen the photos, but many people claim that Neil Armstrong's giant leap for mankind never really happened. They suspect that the astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin never left Earth, but acted out the scene and took photographs in the studio. Conspiracy theorists say there were strange shadows falling in the photos, and surprisingly, no stars are visible. They point out that the US flag planted by Buzz Aldrin was apparently waving, although there is no wind on the moon. However, these doubts can be explained logically. The lighting conditions on the moon were complicated, and the flag only appears to flutter because the astronauts moved it.
No.
Funny. It's funny.
All right, let's read about Elvis' death.
Okay. The king is dead. When Elvis Presley was found lying unconscious on his bathroom floor at his home, Graceland, his family and friends desperately tried to save him. An ambulance was called and Elvis was rushed to hospital.
Sorry, an ambulance.
An ambulance was called and Elvis was rushed to hospital where a special room had been prepared for him. However, the king of rock and roll was already dead when he arrived there. At first, doctors said that Elvis died because his heart had stopped, but later they claimed that the drugs was involved. Elvis had taken painkillers because he has a toothache and he couldn't sleep. However, for years, his fans refused to believe that Elvis was gone, and there was numerous sightings of Elvis around the world. Sightings.
Yeah.
There is even a website elvisisalive.com dedicated to finding out the truth.
Right. Okay. And then let's read about the death of President John F. Kennedy.
The death of a president. President John K. F. Kennedy was assassinated on 22nd November 1963. He was riding through crowds in his car and the gunman shot him once in the head. Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested almost immediately after Kennedy's death and charged with killing him. He was murdered 2 days later. A report in 1964 concluded that Oswald has acted alone, but conspiracy theorists found doubts and believes more people are involved. Suspects included the CIA, the FBI, and the Cuban leader Fidel Castro. In 1979, a new report agreed that Oswald was killed Kennedy, but also conclude that the president was killed as a result of conspiracy by unknown people.
Right. Okay. So let's have a look. Who died in their bathroom?
Elvis Presley,
Yes. Who was shot?
President John Kennedy,
Who was arrested?
Oswald,
Lee Harvey Oswald. Yes. Who was murdered?
John Kennedy,
Yeah. And also John F. Kennedy and also Lee Harvey Oswald was also murdered, right?
Oswald, yes.
Who were the suspects of the JF Kennedy murder?
There are many CIA, FBI, and Cuba President,
Fidel Castro.
Fidel
Yes.
Castro,
Yes. Who was photographed?
Armstrong,
Yes. And Buzz Aldrin.
and Buzz Aldrin.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, well done. Good. Right, let's have a look at this exercise. How are these words and phrases related to the stories? Now, this is a bit of a difficult one. I'm going to show you the answers. So, let's have a look at this one. How is shadows related to the stories?
The
So-
shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what
The
a shadow is,
Okay.
right? So in the photos of the moon landing, there were strange shadows. You see?
Yes.
Fans. How is the word fans related to the stories?
Fan of
Fan.
Elvis still believe that he didn't die. Yes, I got it.
Yes. How is the word stars related to stories?
The man land the moon. Yeah. There are no stars visible in the photo of the moon landing.
How is the word painkillers related to the stories?
Painkiller. What does it mean?
Painkiller is like a drug that you take if you've got a toothache or a headache.
I understand. Painkiller. That means a drug to reduce the pain.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. How is the word photographs related to the stories?
People have doubts about the photographs on the moon landing.
Yes. How is the word or the phrase stereo related to the stories?
Yeah, conspiracy theorists believe that the photos of the moon landing were taken in a photo studio, not on the moon.
Yes. How is the word hospital related to the stories?
Elvis was taken a special room in the hospital, but he was already dead when he got there.
Yes. How is the word or the phrase the FBI related to the stories?
Yeah, FBI was are a suspect in the conspiracy and have been involved with the assassination of President Kennedy.
Okay. How is the phrase a man with a gun related to the stories?
Yes, story of President Kennedy was shot by a man with a gun.
Right? And how is the
Flag.
flag related to the stories?
Yeah, the flag in the photos look as if it is waving, but there's no wind on the moon.
That's right. Okay. Right. So what do you think? Do you believe the official reports? Do you believe the official reports or the conspiracy theories?
Actually, I also have a lot of contrary views relating to these stories. I also heard about the suspects of the doubt of the story relating to the land on the moon. So more or less, I believe with the conspiracy theories relating to the moon, the
moon landing.
The moon landing. Yes.
Yeah. I think Elvis's death is not a conspiracy theory. I believe in the actual. I believe he died because of the reasons that they said he died of. That caused his death. I believe that. I don't think that's a conspiracy theory, but the landing on the moon and definitely the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Those two, I believe strongly, are conspiracy theories. Yes. Right. Okay. One more question. Do you know any other conspiracy theories? Can you remember a while ago? It was in the second half of last year. There was a man in America that was killed. It caused headlines all over the world. I can't recall his name. I can't recall it. Let me see if I can. He was a gospel speaker, and he also was outspoken about Israel. Can you remember what his name was?
Which one?
Yeah, just give me a second.
Okay.
Charlie Kirk.
Oh,
His name is Charlie Kirk. His name was Charlie Kirk. Have you read about this story?
can you type?
Yeah, there it is. Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk.
Yeah. He was an American. And he was assassinated. He was shot through his neck. He was busy with a conference and he was talking to people, but he was very influential. very, very influential. But like I said, at the time, he was also very outspoken against Israel. And he was assassinated, yes. And there's also a huge conspiracy theory behind all the surroundings of all the things around his assassination. Huge conspiracy theories going on. Okay, let's move on. All right, we're going to skip the grammar. Right, so let's choose one of the news stories in the lesson, or any other important news story. Right, you can make notes to answer these questions as you go along. Right, so can you think of any conspiracy theory or any news story? Can you think of any major news story that happened and where you were during that time when it happened?
What was the news story? Where were you when you heard the news? Okay, one second, please.
Okay.
I want to refer back to the news of Russia and Ukraine war.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that it started in 2022 when Russia launched a large military attack on Ukraine. And this event affected many countries because it caused difficulties with food and energy for many people. And many people in Ukraine, both Russia and Ukraine, lost her homes and lost has access to the, especially in Ukraine. The Ukraine people,
Okay, but can you, sorry, can you tell me where were you when you heard the news about the Russian-Ukraine war? Where were you? when you heard the
Okay.
news? Yeah.
I first heard this news when I was at my office, and I saw the post and the news on the internet, and I also and then when I come home, I also watch the news on the TV too, and I understand more about the event. And after that, my colleagues in Singapore, he called me and talk with me a lot about this event, because some weeks after the event, the news occurs. His business also affected because there were a lot of transaction. There are some, not a lot. There are some transaction at bank in Singapore was banned relating to the Russia owned the company, because Singapore government, they refused or they didn't agree with Russia to attack the Ukraine.
That's right. Okay, so did the Russian-Ukraine war change things for you in any way?
Change thing for you in any way, didn't you? I cannot say it changed thing for me in Vietnam because but it's not changed directly, but more or less the war when the war occurred in any country in the world, it's affect the life aspects of people and for the war between the Russia and Ukraine, because it's the war prolonged, so how to say, last so long, and it's make the price increase, makes the politics or the economic situation in the world also come worse, and in some country the crisis disappears. So
Yeah.
that I say.
All right. Okay, Mrs. Lee Dang, I'm gonna stop the lesson here.
Okay.
We are over our time. So well done. See you next time.
Yeah, see you next time. Thank you very much.
Okay, goodbye.
Goodbye.